Selectmen's meeting to order at 6:30. Mr. Pinio, do we have any need for a non-public session?
Madam Chairperson, we do not.
No. First item on the agenda, January 5th, minutes. Does anybody have any corrections or changes? I do. On page 5, it's Article 17, and Jim, you can check me on this. I believe on Article 17 we had the wrong amount, and that amount should be $720,000.
I'll double check that, but that sounds correct on that article.
Yeah, so I would scratch it there, and then at the back of the second paragraph, I would again say the amount was $720,000, just so we're clear on that.
Yep.
And on page 4, we're talking about, and Suzanne questioned if the bond was $2,331,000 or $1 million, and I'm not quite sure what we were talking about. Does anybody know? Did she ask the question about Abenaki? It just doesn't make any sense to me right there. Anybody have any idea what we were doing?
2.3?
I remember the conversation. I don't remember what it was about, though.
Yeah, that's got to be out of order, because that's certainly not the Port Woodland project.
So I'd like to make a motion that, and take those and just remove them from the minutes, since none of us know what we were talking about.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Everybody comfortable with that? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, those are scratched. And then on page 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth paragraph up from the bottom, Chairman Murray questioned if they had addressed the easement for the storage shed located on town land, and I'd like to add off Railroad Avenue, so anybody knows where I'm talking about. And those are the only changes I have. Does anybody else have any changes?
Yeah, I do, Linda.
Okay, Brad?
Page 14,
Okay.
right about the middle of the page, as Mr. Harriman noted some concerns about that as the sun rises early. I was talking about sunset, being early to not close the gate too early. And then on page 15,
Yep.
right up the paragraph right above number 7, says the board agreed to dedicate town report to Dave Bowers and Tom Lovett. Spelling of his name is wrong, should be Lovett, not Levitt.
Okay.
That was it.
Any other corrections or changes? Hearing none, can I have a motion to accept as amended?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next item on the agenda, minutes of January 12th. Anybody have any corrections, changes? I do on page 1, and it's when we're talking about the public hearings, and the first one, I was on the ice arena, and at the end of that, I would like it to say, Chairman Murray stepped down due to a conflict of interest which disqualifies her from voting. That's the only one I had. Does anybody else have any corrections or changes?
No, I move we approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
12?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're moving on to public hearings. I'll read the notice of the first public hearing. Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, February 2nd, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. virtually for the acceptance of unanticipated funds in excess of $10,000 in accordance with RSA 31:95-B3A relative to the Wolfeboro Milfoil Committee to receive a 2022 exotic aquatic plant control grant from the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, NHDES, for expenses incurred in the prevention of exotic species aquatic plant control in the amount up to $10,550. And I'll open up the public hearing. Mr. Pinio, do you want to address this? You want me to address it?
You can address it, Linda.
Okay, each year, the Milfoil Committee applies for a grant from DES to help with the expenses of pulling milfoil in Back Bay, Lake Wentworth, and Crescent Lake. This year's contract is for hand pulling and some dash work. There will be no chemical treatment. So what you have in front of you is the contract that we need to sign. Jim, did Amy find out whether you are the only one who needed to sign it, or all of us?
That is correct. You can designate me as the signatory.
Okay. Does anybody in the audience want to speak to this public hearing? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board members, can I have a motion?
To make the motion to move to authorize the town manager to sign the application to New Hampshire DES relative to the Wolfeboro Milfoil Committee to applying for and receiving a 2022 Exotic Aquatic Plant Control Grant from the State of New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services for the expense incurred in the prevention of exotic species aquatic plant control in the amount of $10,550.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passed. Now I'll start with the temporary event public hearings. The first one is the Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen to consider a temporary event permit for the Wolfeboro Cross Country Ski Association to hold a Nordic ski race on February 19th through 20th, 2022. Snow date February 21st, 2022, from 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. And I'll open up the public hearing. Do I have anybody who'd like to speak to that? Brian, I think you have some information.
Yes, I spoke with Jim Beam today and wanted to clarify a couple of things. First of all, the ski race is not on February 19th or 20th. The official date is the 19th. He's leaving the 20th and the 21st open for bad weather days, because if we have a two-day storm, he wants to be able to still have it on the Monday, which is a holiday. And he gave me a little note that I'd like to read in his behalf. Requesting permission to hold a Nordic ski race at Abenaki Saturday morning, February 19th. This is the third time the Wolfeboro Cross Country Ski Association is holding the event, and they are hoping for 60 racers. Any proceeds will be used to maintain the ski trails. I have had preliminary discussions with the Abenaki ski team and Parks and Rec Department. This is an individual start between 8:30 and 10 o'clock a.m. Outdoor event, no congregating, no awards or ceremony. We are hoping to move the race to Saturday or Sunday if that weekend, in case of bad weather. Thank you very much, Jim Beam.
Okay, is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak to this special event permit? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board members?
Move to approve a temporary event permit for the Wolfeboro Cross Country Ski Association to hold a Nordic ski race on February 19th, 2022, inclement weather date to be either February 20th or February 21st, 2022, from 8:30 a.m. till 12 p.m.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All righty, we'll move on to the next one. The Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen to consider a temporary event permit for the New England Chapter Antique and Classic Boat Society to hold boat show on July 30th, 2022, from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Wolfeboro Town Docks parking lot, Kate Park, and Community Bandstand. I'll open up the public hearing. Do I have anybody who'd like to speak to this event? Come on up to the microphone and state your name for the record.
Thank you. Bill Markison with the New England chapter of Antique and Classic Boat Society. So this event request is for the boat show that we have run the last several years, the last Saturday in July at the Wolfeboro Town Docks. It's the same, we anticipate running the same event that we did last year.
Okay, is there anybody else in the audience who'd like to speak to this event? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. I have one question for you. What time would you like the parking lot closed? Do you, sometimes people like it closed the night before so the cars don't park, others say fine, 6, 5?
Midnight? Midnight the night before, is that when we've done it? Midnight on
Night
Friday,
be-
July 29th.
Okay, we'll close it the night before, whichever is the easiest for us to do
Yeah.
that. Board members, anybody else have any comments? There is one, it says you usually have a police detail. It says, police detail required for approval. It says denial if not.
Yeah, is this the static display? Okay, so if it's a static display, then we can waive the police detail. If it's the regatta, the boat races, that type of stuff, yeah, you'll need a police detail.
Okay. Board members, anybody else have any questions or concerns? Can I have a motion? And
Move
would you-
to approve a temporary event permit for the New England Chapter Antique and Classic Boat Society to hold a boat show on July 30th, 2022, from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., with the dockside parking lot being closed to public at 12 a.m. the night before. Kate Park, the event will be at the Wolfeboro Town Docks, the parking lot, Kate Park, and the community bandstand.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, I'll open up the next public hearing. The Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen to consider a temporary event permit for the New England chapter of Antique and Classic Boat Society to host a boat and car show on September 17th, 2022, from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Town Docks parking lot, Kate Park, and the community bandstand. Do I have anybody who'd like to speak to this?
Yes, ma'am. Bill Markison again. This event is one that we have run every other year on the alternate years from when we have the regatta, same weekend in September. We last ran this one 2 years ago. We're looking to run the same format as we did then. And it is static display. There's not boat racing. And we would like to close the parking lot the night before, the same as we do for the boat show.
Thank you. Do I have anybody in the audience who'd like to speak to this temporary event permit? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board members, anybody have any questions? Dean said he doesn't need a police detail, and we have the answer about the closing of the parking lot. Is somebody ready to give me a motion?
Yeah, I'll move to consider a temporary event permit for New England Chapter Antique and Classic Boat Society. Host a boat and car show on September 17th, 2022, from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Town Docks parking lot, Kate Park, and community bandstand.
And closing the parking lot the night before?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, we'll move on to the next public hearing. The Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen to consider a temporary event permit for the Kingswood Regional High School class of 2022 promenade on May 7th, 2022, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Kate Park and Community Bandstand. Is there anybody here who'd like to speak to this?
Yes, my name is Lisa Rogers, and I'm with the Kingswood Regional High School. And we'd like to use Kate Park and the community bandstand for our promenade. We have filed an application for police detail for that night and have established a cleanup crew.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak to this temporary event permit? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board members, this is one we do every year. One thing that they have a wonderful group of parents who clean up the Cape Park right after it's all done. So can I have a motion?
Move to approve a temporary event permit for the Kingswood Regional High School Class of 2022 Promenade on May 7, 2022, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Cape Park and Community Bandstand.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, they have their permit. I'll start the next public hearing. I'll open it up. The Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen to consider a temporary event permit for the Wolfeboro Garden Club to host the annual Christmas wreath sale at the railroad station on Railroad Avenue from November 13th to November 20th, 2022, from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Do I have anybody in the audience who'd like to speak to this temporary event permit? Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak to it? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. This again is one that we've had over the last 2 years. They are all also asking for 3 parking spaces in front of the door to be blocked so people can drive up and pick up their wreaths. Does anybody have any problem going forward with this, with nobody here? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the temporary event permit for the Wolfeboro Garden Club to host the annual Christmas wreath sale at the railroad station on Railroad Avenue from November 13th through November 20th, 2022, from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and to have those 3 parking spaces blocked off for pickup.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All righty. I'll open up the next public hearing. The Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen to consider a temporary event permit for the First Congregational Church of West Wolfeboro to host the Easter Sunrise Service on April 17th, 2022, from 4:45 a.m. to 7 a.m. at Albee Beach. Somebody's here to speak to it. Just state your name for the record, please.
Honorable Chair, members of the board, my name is David Holden. I'm a deacon at the First Congregational Church. This request is similar to the ones we've made in many years past, and we do acknowledge that you will have to let us know whether or not the parking lot can handle the traffic at that time. So this is a request to use it if it's appropriate.
Okay. Is there anybody else in the audience who'd like to speak to this temporary event permit? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board members, do you have any questions or concern? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Move to approve a temporary event permit for the First Congregational Church of Wolfeboro to host an Easter sunrise service on April 17, 2022, from 4:45 a.m. to 7 a.m. at Albee Beach.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Nobody's opposed. Okay, the last public hearing. The Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen to consider a temporary event permit for the First Congregational Church of Wolfeboro to host morning worship service at Cape Park on Sundays, May 1st through 31st, from 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. from a.m. June 1st through October 9th, from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., and from May 1st to October 22nd is the whole thing.
Could you
All right.
repeat that, Linda, please?
You want me to reread it? Brian, I'll pass it over to you to read it. Okay.
I'm Meg Gahagan, and I'm a deacon at the First Congregational Church, Wolfeboro, and we've been doing this for many years.
Okay. Is there anybody else in the audience who'd like to speak to this temporary event? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board members,
Brian, you can do this.
you got it. Don't make any mistakes.
Move to approve a temporary event permit for the First Congregational Church of Wolfeboro to host the morning worship service at Cape Park on Sundays, 5/1-531, 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., 6/1 to -10 9, 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. from May 1st to October 9th, 2022.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You have your permits. Okay, we're done with our temporary events and your public hearings. Next item on the agenda, give a second for people to get out.
Public comment.
Yes. Next item is public comment. Do I have anybody who would like to give us any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on. Next item is the bulk vote. The manifest for January 21st, 2022 was $162,521.68. January 28th was $149,952.49. We have a property tax exemption, and we have an intent to cut. Does anybody have any issues with the bulk vote? Hearing none, can I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have no board or committee appointments. The next item on the agenda is the actual versus budget report, December 2021, unaudited.
Good evening, Kathy Carpentier, Finance Director. Before you, I have a preliminary year-end report for December 2021. We ended the year, financially, we had a very good year. We're currently at 97.5% when I ran this report, but we continue to get bills in, electric bills, legal bills, phone bills, with an excess of slightly over $378,000. So we will be booking more entries through the next couple of months. We also need to change reserves and book year-end entries with the auditors. The preliminary audit is tomorrow, but the auditors won't be here until April to do the final entries. So the general fund was 97.5%, an excess of $378,000. And the revenues were at 107%, but the revenues have not been adjusted for reserves. I did also want to take a moment to explain on a monthly basis, we run this report. It's a detailed report around 80, 90 pages long. I do a summary sheet. I review the summary sheet with the town manager, any issues or concerns we may see. I also send it electronically to the department heads so that they're aware of where they stand, and they also are seeing what the Board of Selectmen are seeing. I send it to the Board of Selectmen electronically and paper copy if they like, so we're trying to give a lot of visibility to it. At times, I do have department heads reaching out to me asking questions or making corrections. I also have that with the selectmen. For example, we had a difference in public works and water and sewer because of a person who is deceased. They did a little changing around of them head count between public works and water and sewer. So you'll see some favorability in public works. I mean, unfavorable in public works, but favorable in water due to some management changes. I just thought it was important to let the people know that we are all looking at this and vetting it and making sure that if we see any anomalies, we address them. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them here today, or you can contact me one-on-one.
And I want to thank Casey. She knows I'll be coming into her office, and I had a bunch of questions, and what was nice to see, I asked them, and she knew the answer. So she has a good understanding of it. Does any board member have any questions or concerns for her? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Okay. We'll move on down to the Municipal Electric Department utility cost comparison. Oh, I like this every year when you bring it in.
Yeah, this is good news. Jim, do you have the slide? There we go. So I typically do this on Barry Muccio, Director of Operations for the Electric Department. I typically do this on an annual basis where we compare our current rates to our neighboring utilities from Eversource and New Hampshire Electric Co-op. It just so happened to coincide also with new contracts from several of us. I think all three of us are in sort of new purchase supply contracts. So if you take a look at this, our beneficial rate over our neighbors has actually increased a bit in regards to the difference. Our rate hasn't changed. I base this on a sort of an average 600 kilowatt hours a month residential rate. You can see our neighbors from Eversource had an increase of 7% over last year's rate. New Hampshire Electric Co-op went up 16%, and we haven't changed. So if you look at what that means on a yearly basis, co-op customers are paying about $600 more a year than a Wolfeboro customer of the same usage. And our Eversource comparison would be around $440 more. So that's good news. I mean, one of the things in doing this that I can point out to everyone is when you include the 5-year contract, we're in our new contract, it will be 16 years since we have had a rate increase. And I don't know of anything that hasn't increased over a 16-year time frame. So we're doing something right.
We've hit some
Municipal
great,
power is still beneficial, and I don't think you can argue with that. So.
and we've hit some real good numbers when we renewed our contract. I think, Mayhew has been
He's been certainly beneficial, and our timing has been right. And,
Yeah.
some of that timing is based on advice and just following the market. So, yep, 16 years. I'm going to tout that one for a while. That's crazy. So, thank you. Any questions? I'd be glad to. I'll have these available on our website. We'll have them available at our billing office. Yep.
I think that's a good one, and you can just stay up there, because the next thing we have is the Rggi Rebate reimbursement.
Yeah, so this is sort of another annual thing we do. We receive quarterly Rggi reimbursement monies from auction proceeds based on greenhouse gas emissions. Like I said, we receive them quarterly. One of the things that we are required to do is we are required to reimburse these monies back to our ratepayers as participating. That's one of the terms of participating, and that's through the New Hampshire Public Utilities Commission. So with that, I presented to you a proposed rebate that I'm looking to commence in March, run it for 3 months. And I had spoken with the billing office, and that timing seems to be able to work for them. So what we're looking to rebate our customers is 1.114 cents per kilowatt. And we have done this enough now that Brenda is able to punch that right into the billing software. We have a field for that now to make it much easier. But so it would be a reduction of 1.14 cents for the duration of meters read from March 2022 until May, the end of May 2022. So really all I need from you folks is a motion to approve that rate reimbursement for that time frame. Yep.
Does any board member have any question or concern? Does anybody want to give me the motion that's written?
As written.
In the
Move to approve the Rggi rebate from the Municipal Electric Department for 1.14 cents of a rebate off the residential service for March, April, and May of 2022.
If I could correct one thing there, it's not only the residential customers that will receive, all customers receive that rebate.
Residential and
regardless.
commercial customers.
Residential, industrial, and commercial customers, so all customers.
And this would be about $6.50 per typical customer.
Yeah, so you can and add that to our low rates.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, is the board amenable to doing B&H development? We have other staff members here, and then we can go on with the regular bookkeeping. Is that okay with everybody?
Yep.
All righty. Jim, do you want to, and Brenda want to take this?
Yep. So we've been working with Attorney Puffer, as you're well aware, and we've come to an agreement with a developer to be able to purchase the 24 B&H lots. This is a little different than normal property transactions. Where a normal property transaction in the town, you would have to have public hearings under RSA 4114. We are operating under RSA 80:80, which applies to this, and that states that the Board of Selectmen can convey tax-deeded properties without any form of a public hearing. So we are here tonight. You have a spreadsheet in front of you that lays out the lots. What I'm recommending is that we read those lots into the record. We make the motion to move forward and deed them and move the process forward. I'm sure Brenda's got a few things that she'd like to add. This is a big project that's been going on for a while, and we're getting close.
Yeah, it has been. Brenda LaPointe, tax collector. So tonight we're asking for permission for you to approve the 24 deeds for the lots that were taxed under the name of B&H Development Corporation. These deeds are the end result of real estate tax liens executed against the properties on April 26, 2019 for the levy of 2018. In addition to the landowners being notified, there were 21 individual persons notified identified as having legal interest to the properties. And as per state statutes, the property owners and all of those holding a legal interest were notified via certified mail return receipt at least 30 days prior to the intent to deed. And the intended deed date was February 1st.
Okay, does any board members have any questions that they'd like to ask either Jim or Brenda? If not, I will just read the lots, and these will be the lots that we are getting by tax deed, the 24 of them, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And once they're approved, they'll be recorded at the registry.
Okay, we'll go record them. Okay, so we have map 267, lot 8, sublot 46. Map 267, lot 9, sublot 45. Map 267, lot 11, subdivision lot 43. Map 267, lot 12, subdivision lot 42. 267 is the map, 13 is the lot, the subdivision lot is 41. Map is 267, lot is 14, subdivision lot is 40. Map 267, lot 15, subdivision lot 11. 267 is the map, 16 is the lot, and subdivision lot is 10. Map 267, lot 17, subdivision lot 9. Map 267, lot 18, subdivision lot 8. Map 267, lot 19, subdivision lot 7. Map 267, lot 20, subdivision lot 6. Map 267, lot 21, subdivision lot 5. Map 267, lot 22, subdivision lot 4. Map 267, lot 23, subdivision lot 31. Map 267, lot 24, subdivision lot 2. Map 267, Lot 25, subdivision Lot 1. Map 272, Lot 2, subdivision Lot 28. Map 272, Lot 5, subdivision Lot 31. Map 272, Lot 12, subdivision Lot 15. Map 272, Lot 15, subdivision Lot 18. Map 272, Lot 24, subdivision Lot 27. Map 273, Lot 24, subdivision Lot 12. Map 273, Lot 26, subdivision Lot 14. And those are the 24 deeds. So we need to have a motion to approve the
I'll verify it.
acceptance of the tax deeds, or is that what you want?
Just accept the tax deeds that are written.
Okay. Somebody want to make that motion?
So moved.
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Anybody want to read them again? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We've done it, I think, finally. All right, we go back to the commercial viewing landing permit, Wake Winnie LLC, and I don't see anyone here for that. Stick that thing. So I had Jim pull up the map, and when I went to look at that, we never completed finishing the zoning ordinance. Not the zoning, our town ordinance for docks and wharf, which we need to go back to because we had a question about changing the money for the amount paid at the Libby dock, and there were some of these that we just never finished. But I wanted it to make sure that they realized which area was for them. And so I think this map should go out with the approval letter. The other issue was that they put on their sign the bike rental. And bike rentals cannot be on a sign at the dock. So we're in the letter we send them, we need to have them remove that. Okay, and it's this one here. They can't have the
Right.
bike rental.
I have a question.
Okay.
Before you get to-
Okay, and the other thing is their sign needs to be on the bottom rung. Last year, they had it on the top rung, which didn't make any difference because the mount wasn't coming in. But this year, it's the mount, the Winnie, and then the other small boats go on the lower level. Dave, you have a,
Yeah. Is this the same company that was in the Avery building on the back corner?
Yes.
Last year? Thought we had some issues last season with them.
So they came in front of us last year wanting the Millie B spot, to which we are in basically a long-term verbal agreement with the boat museum relative to the parking and stowing of the Millie B. That was the major issues last year. They wanted that spot, them meaning Wake Winnie, but we are committed to the Millie B and the boat museum in that particular spot.
and that's what made us establish the 20-minute drop-off and pickup at the dock. And that was the meeting we decided to move this permit forward and establish that area, and we did not come to consensus or finish our docks and wharf, which we should put on the agenda and get that done probably in February, early March, just so we have it done before the season starts. Does anybody else have any questions or concerns about this?
Should they be here to answer any questions or to address anything?
If we have them, we can, if we have questions that we can't answer, we could ask them, not do it and ask them to come in. If we don't, I guess that's the consensus of the board. Do we feel we have to have them come in here?
Yes, no?
I kind of think we could almost do what we did last year, assign them, allow them to use that 10-minute, loading, unloading area there that we designated, similar to last year. I didn't really notice or recall any complaints once we got to that point. I know there was that issue, as Jim just explained to us, about wanting to use the Millie B dock, that I'm not gonna, I don't want to change that at all, obviously, so I'd be willing to move forward with allowing them to use that drop-off zone again.
I'd like a letter to go out. I'd like the map to go out so it's clear that's their spot. We could take their sign, we say, get that off. You go on the bottom shelf and we put it in writing.
Yeah, so
Since they're not here, I think, is that okay, Brian?
Amy already has a copy of this to go with the letter. She's got the amendments that need to occur to the sign relative to removal of the e-bike rentals and the location. So it's the board's discretion. You can table it, or we can handle it internally upon your approval.
Do it that way. Fine with me.
If people are comfortable doing it that way, can I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll move that we approve the Wake Winnie commercial docking application, notating that on the dock map where they have to load and unload.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The next item is payment in lieu of taxes, Hearthstone Homes, New Hampshire Boat Museum. And we received a letter or email from Linda Ridings, and she's asking us whether we want to renew these, and questioned the amount we were doing for Hearthstone Homes. Does anybody have any comments?
No, I had a discussion with her on the phone just to see where things were and what her opinion was. And she explained how it's worked in the past and said that it's something that's going to go forward the same way.
Yeah, the only thing is if we did want to change Hearthstone Homes amount, we would need to tell them that we were going to do it for the following year, because their budget is already in, and that's part of what we got into with them. I'm comfortable with the amount. I think it provides a service for some lower-income people in town, and I think it's, I think we're lucky to have it. I don't, but that's my opinion. I don't know where anybody else is on this. Anybody else have any comments? I think the boat museum, that's worked out well. They're paying, the town taxes and the county taxes and not the school. They aren't going to send anybody to school on that lot. So.
Yep. I'll make a motion, we move forward with the payment in lieu of taxes. Hearthstone Homes, New Hampshire Boat Museum.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And my understanding, she's going to give us a new contract, which we'll
Right.
bring to a meeting to sign and approve.
Yeah, I just need to be clear. So last year's agreed upon was 21,000. That's the number that you have approved, correct?
That's what we'd like her to put in.
Yep.
Am I
Got it.
correct, everybody? We'd leave it as is.
Yep.
Okay, next item, Pop Wheelin' Ice Arena specifications. Jim?
Yeah, so we've got some active work taking place relative to the Pop Whalen Ice Arena. We're working with the architects. They have sent us a bunch of sample colors. This is getting ahead a little bit, but they want to try to lock in the colors. We really haven't received the renderings from them yet. So that this kind of puts that part of the conversation on hold. However, the other thing that I'd like to be able to discuss with the board is as we move forward, if this project gets approved, obviously, any project of this magnitude, there's going to be areas where we're going to have to make basically game time decisions about finances and what we're going to do with the project, where we may need to make cuts if the budget is becoming tight, and where we may be able to find some efficiencies. So what I'd like to ask is I'd like to have a couple of board members who would be willing to be able to be on, per se, a building committee for the purposes of, if this article passes, we can meet on a regular basis to be able to look at the project going forward, what's happening, where we're running into snags, and if we have to make financial cuts to keep the project on budget, some assistance with that from a couple of board members. Be happy to try to answer any questions further, but it's a big project, and I think having some help from the board would be of benefit when we get into this, if it does pass.
If you'll have me, Jim, I'm in.
Well, I was wondering whether, I think we got Dave Senecal, who has code stuff. Has that under
I'll volunteer as well.
Right.
I don't mind.
Is
Brian and I can
and-
do it. Brad can be available for site work stuff.
So, yeah, any input that I could do on it, yeah.
I guess it's between Brad and Brian. I mean, I think Dave, because of his understanding of codes, is simple as far as I'm concerned. But the other two, you can make a decision, Jim, on which of those.
I mean, I have no issue either way. I think the Brad's background relative to earthwork could be beneficial, but Brian's creativity is also of benefit. So.
Is there times we may want to switch off who comes? If you're doing earthwork,
Yeah.
you're comfortable with,
Absolutely.
you
Okay.
being there,
Well,
and then,
All three of us could be involved.
Yeah, the only problem is we'd have to notice a meeting.
Yeah.
Oh,
but you could notice it.
Yeah, we could.
I don't see any problem if you want to do that, just notice that three members of the board will be there. There'll be no board
Okay.
decision there. I'm
Yep.
comfortable.
If you guys are good
okay
with
with
that?
that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll get the three of you involved, and I will be in touch, because some of this stuff, I think, is going to start happening quickly. They just need to lock some things down in case it does pass, so that we can keep the project moving forward.
So we need an answer on the paint color, or is that?
So the unfortunate part right now, Luke, is we don't actually have the renderings that were supposed to be provided to us. So what I'll do is, if I get the renderings tomorrow or Friday, I will contact each of you individually and say, this is what we're looking at, and get your feedback.
Now, question. Back Bay Hockey has always been green and white, and Kingswood's always been green and white. Have they considered that?
This is a town building, and I think that, the green, in my mind, makes some sense. But the other question is, the front of that building, the block, is tan, and we were trying to get the renditions as to what a green would look like up against that tan and different contrasts. So that's what the architect
I
is
thought in
doing.
Victor Druin's thing, it was a tannish color.
I thought it was tan.
Yeah, I think.
I liked the tan, but, I mean. what-
And I obviously, the other thing that I will factor in is, if it's expensive, if it's an additional $10,000 for the
Yeah,
green,
right.
well, it's the color of
Tan
money.
looks good.
That's right. We can take a drab color if that's what it takes.
Okay, thank you.
We all comfortable on that?
Yep.
Other business, I was asked by Peter Goodwin to give him and the planning board where we were on all these projects. I asked Amy, I did it, I asked Amy to give it to all of you. I didn't want to be the one who was bold enough to say what we had done. Is there anything or any one of the corrections anybody wants to make or any changes? If not, this will go into the planning board of how we have addressed. We had 54 goals that related to us, and I did the best I could at kind of giving them some kind of an idea of where we were on that. So if you do, and you go over it, I had her print it in the big print so you could see it. So if you have anything you'd like to change, please let me know. I will be more than willing to take care of that. All righty. That puts us on to committee reports. I'll start down. I think last week I started there. I'll start over here this week. Yeah.
The, all I have to talk about is we've been working with the Energy Committee, and we're trying to get some traction for a solar project in town. And I'm working with Warren Wilson, who's in Spain right now, and he's very, very creative, and we're trying to think of how we can have a developmental plan, a plan that will be an example of what solar can do without impacting land in the town or our current contract with Exelon or anything like that. So we're working on a couple of creative ideas that I think we'll be bringing to the whole board down the road a little bit.
Luke.
I had a meeting with the Heritage Committee. Today we had Public Safety Building, and that's it.
Okay, I've had two meetings with the Friends of Pop Whalen. They are continually working on the building design with the town manager, and also getting their signs out, which I hope you start seeing. And we're going to get a few banners up there. You're going to definitely know that Warren Article 11 is on the ballot. Then I had a meeting with the Emergency Operation Committee. They were reviewing some of our COVID PR and looking to get more out. We're going to start meeting quarterly. I had a meeting with the town manager, Dave, to work on the lease of the Lakes Region Model Railroad, and I think we made some good progress on that. And we were all here for that work session on the trails. Dave?
Had met with Luke today in the Public Safety Committee group, moving forward with that. We had a meeting with John Sims on the railroad thing, and that's all I had.
Brad?
Let's see, last night we had a planning board meeting. Had one small subdivision, two-lot subdivision, and going on to what you said on the spreadsheet there, Peter Goodwin did report to the planning board about that. Very pleased, and he did some math on it, and I think it was like 2/3 of the items on there involving the Board of Selectmen are in the works or have been done to this point already. So, you know, he's very positive reaction to how everything is moving along related to that. And let's see, I think last Monday, Dave and I also had a meeting with a group from the Friends to get the groundwork laid for our business plan and the strategic viability study moving forward with the Living Museum. And we'll be meeting again this month to continue our work on that. So that's it.
Good. Good to hear that's moving forward. Next item on the agenda, town manager.
A couple of items. First of all, when we get into March, I'm wondering if it would be okay to transition our meetings to March 9th and the 23rd. The 9th puts us a day after the town vote, which I think is good, so that we can discuss if there's any close votes, if there's some default budget, those type of items, and to which also the first Tuesday I won't be here. So, or excuse me, the first Wednesday I won't be here, and Dave won't be here either. So if we could move that to the 9th and the 23rd, if the board is okay with it, it would certainly alleviate some staff issues, and it would allow Dave to be here as well.
I won't be here on the 23rd.
You won't be here on the 23rd.
That's fine. Linda and I talked about it.
Yeah, and I think what we'll do is he's not going to be here. We usually do it in the last Wednesday of the month, change over of the chair and everything. Since Dave isn't going to be here, we'll do it the first weekend meeting in April, if that works for everybody. We'll make the changeover so he can be there. We usually make sure we have a full board when we go to do that.
Okay.
You have any more thing else?
Yeah, I've got a few other items. Just as an FYI, I believe it's going to be next Tuesday, the 15th. Just as a courtesy, we're going to be going in front of the planning board with the Pop Whalen project. So just be aware that that is actively taking place. We've drafted a letter to them explaining the project, and we're coming in to meet with them to give them a heads up as to what's going on, more of a courtesy. We legally don't have to do it, but it's good practice to do that. So that will be taking place. I plan on attending that meeting. Had a very productive meeting with the Public Safety Committee today. The next Board of Selectmen's meeting, myself and Chief Rondo will be giving you a quick presentation outlining the timeline going forward and what the model of the proposed police station will look like. On the town website, if you go under News and click on the Deliberative Session link, at that location you will find the official warrant. You will find the proposed budget, which is titled MS 737. That's the proposed budget, and you'll also find the default budget. So that is all on the town website, available for viewing in advance of the deliberative session. As well on the website is instructions relative to absentee ballots. Once the warrant's been set, the ballots will be set, but you'll have to fill out the application to be able to fill out or to do an absentee ballot. And then, of course, the deliberative session is scheduled for next Tuesday, 7 p.m. at the Arts Center. And I believe that is all that I have.
Okay, I'll kind of run over those dates again. The deliberative session is Tuesday, February 8th. The snow date is February 10th, 2022, 7 p.m. at the Kingswood Arts Center. The second session of town meeting, which is our voting, is on Tuesday, March 8th, 2022, from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. right here in the Great Hall. All righty. I think, do we have any questions from the press? See, Elizabeth, and I don't see on here, but do I have any public input? Hearing none.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye.